Hi, Phanessa here. In this video I am going to demonstrate how to crochet this long sleeve bolero slash shrug. So it's worked in one big rectangle, and then for the sleeves it is seamed here, and this is the back. So it's worked in one direction first, and then you come back and work the other direction. Okay, this is just a 2-row repeat, and we end with the shell row, giving it a sort of a lace sleeve on the edge here. Very pretty. So for the materials, I used 1 ball of Loops and Threads cream cotton. This is dusty blue, and I'm using a size K, 6.5 millimeters. You will need a pair of scissors, tapestry needle, tape measure, because we are measuring as we go, so you can make any size you want, and then grab some stitch markers to help you mark where you need to stop when you're working your seam. Alright, let's get started. Okay, so starting with a slip knot, you want to chain in multiples of 4 plus 4. So this is going to be the measurement from your shoulders down, and the sleeve section when it's folded in half. So you want to chain again in multiples of 4 plus 4. So for this one it is, let's see, this one is approximately 17 inches, and so that's, I have 9 of these shells, and each of them are the 4 stitches, so that's 9 and 4 is 36 plus the 4 stitches, so I have a total of 40 stitches. So I chained 40. So if you're adjusting, just chain in multiples of 4 plus 4. I'm actually just making a sample. Now into the 8th chain, you want to work a V-stitch, which is going to be 1 double crochet, chain 3, and 1 double crochet, all into the same stitch. So we're going to count from here. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So I like to place my thumb there so that I know that's the stitch I'm going to work into, and I like to work into the back humps. So I'm going to yarn over, insert my hook into the 8th chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, and pull through 2. So now I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Again, into the same chain stitch, I'm going to work 1 double crochet. Yarn over, insert your hook into that same chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, and pull through 2. So that is your V-stitch. Now you're going to chain 1, skip 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Into the 5th, we're going to work another V-stitch. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Into the 5th, I'm going to work a V-stitch, which is the double crochet, chain 3, and double crochet. 2, 3. And then 1 double crochet into the same chain stitch, and then chain 1. So that's what you're going to repeat all the way across. You're going to skip 4 chains, work a V stitch, which is 1 double crochet, chain 3, and 1 double crochet into the same stitch, and then you chain 1 in between each of the V stitches, and then just remember to skip 4. When you work your last V-stitch, you're going to have 3 stitches remaining. You're going to skip 2 and then 1 double crochet into the last stitch. So I'm working my last V-stitch, and don't forget to work your chain 1 after the V-stitch, and then I have my 3 stitches left. I'm going to skip 2 and then 1 double crochet into the last stitch. Okay, so that is the foundation row. So now we're ready for row 1, and this will set up for the shell stitches. And this pattern is only a 2-row repeat. Okay, so I'm going to turn my work. Now I've never been a fan of chaining 3, so I'm going to work a chainless double crochet. There's 2 ways you can do that. You can pull up a tall loop, and this one is one that I've been using and I continue to use. It's my favorite method. You're going to hold your yarn so with your fingers so that it doesn't slide off. Then you're going to bring it forward and go around, and then you want to still hold on to that yarn. If you let go, it's going to do that. So you want to hold on, go around, and then you want to insert your hook into that stitch, that same stitch. Then you want to yarn over, pull up a loop. Okay, so now you have your 3 stitches just like you would a double crochet. Yarn over, pull through 2, and I'm still holding on to that very first loop. Yarn over and pull through 2. Okay, so that is one way to work your chainless double crochet. I just started using this method. Okay, so the second way to do this is once you turn, you're not going to work any chain stitches. You're going to work 1 single crochet right into that same stitch. Okay, and then now you're going to work another single crochet into the post of the single crochet you just made. So here's 2 loops that you can see here. You want to insert into the left loop, the one on this side here. So insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through 2. So this method is good as well. The only thing is it's a little bit wider than if you were to work the first method. So you can compare this double crochet here to that one. It's a little bit wider. It doesn't really bother me, but if it bothers you, then you can work with the first method. This one is a little bit easier to work, I think. But again, if you enjoy your chain 3, go ahead and chain 3, and that will be your first double crochet stitch. Okay, so for this row, we're just going to work 1 shell stitch in every chain 3 space. So right where the V stitches are, 1 shell stitch all the way across. And a shell stitch consists of 7 double crochets. So you're just going to work 7 double crochets right into the chain 3 space. Okay, so there's 7 double crochets. Now you're going to work another shell stitch into the next chain 3 space. So in the next V stitch. And that is all you do. And that is what you repeat all the way across. Here is my last V stitch. So I'm going to work 7 double crochets into the chain 3 space. Okay, so this is the chains that we skipped when we started our foundation. So we worked our first V stitch into the 6th chain from the hook. And remember I said these skip stitches count for the 2 chain stitches, 1 double crochet, and a chain 1, which is going to match the end of our first row here. There's 2 chain stitches, there is your chain 1 and your double crochet. So in order to work into our turning chain here with 1 double crochet, okay, so you want to skip the next chain, and work 1 double crochet into the next chain stitch, or you can count from the bottom up. It'll be the 6th chain from the bottom up. Okay, we're done with row 1 and we just have row 2 to work. Okay, row 2, I'm going to start with the chainless double crochet stitch and then a chain 1. So if you're just working the chain stitches as your double crochet, go ahead and chain 4, and that will count as your double crochet plus a chain 1. So this is my chainless double crochet, and then I'm going to chain 1. Now you're going to work your V-stitch, which is 1 double crochet, chain 3, and 1 double crochet. Again, just like this first row here, we're going to chain 1 between the V-stitches. Now we're going to skip over to the next shell stitch and work another V-stitch into the center of the shell stitch. And that's 1 double crochet, chain 3, and 1 double crochet. So that's going to be the repeat all the way across, working chain 1 between each V-stitch, and each V-stitch is worked into the center of the shell stitch. This is my last V-stitch here. 1 double crochet, chain 3, and 1 double crochet. Don't forget your chain 1 at the end. And then you're going to work 1 double crochet into the top of this double crochet. So if you did a chain 3 here in the first row, or row 1, you're just going to work into the 3rd chain from the chain 3. So I have a chainless double crochet here, and I can clearly see the stitch, so the V-stitch here. Going to work my last double crochet into the last stitch there. Okay, so now you just repeat row 1 and 2 until you're happy with the length. So this length is going to be from the middle of your back all the way to the sleeves, so it depends on how long you want it. This one is going to be a full length, so it's going to come all the way out to here. So I stopped when I had 13 rows of these shell stitches, which is more like 26 rows, total rows. Okay, make sure you end on a shell row and not the V-stitch row. Okay, once you've completed that half, we're going to fasten on here and then work the other half. So when you finish your first half, fasten on and start your second half. Now find the tail and then you can fasten on right here in the corner. What I like to do is tie my ends so that I don't have to weave anything later. And this is what I do. So I take the end of my working yarn and tie a knot onto my little tail here. Okay, just a knot. And then I take the end from my beginning tail and tie it to my working yarn. And then I'm going to pull on the 2 until they combine, and then I'm just going to snip off the little tail ends here. Okay, so now I'm just going to insert my hook here in the corner and then yarn over and pull up a loop. I'm going to work a chainless double crochet. Again, you can chain 4, which will count as 1 double crochet and a chain 1. Okay, so now I have to chain 1. I'm going to work a V-stitch right here on the opposite side of this V-stitch here, which is 1 double crochet, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then 1 double crochet, and then chain 1, and then work another V-stitch on the opposite side of this one. So you basically want to mirror your foundation row. Okay, don't forget the chain 1 in between your V-stitches. Here's the next V. I'm going to work a V-stitch on the opposite end. Okay, so you're just going to repeat that until you get towards the end, working 1 V-stitch on the opposite end of your foundation row here. And then don't forget your chain 1 between your V-stitches. So I finished my last V-stitch here. I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm going to count 2 chain stitches over, and then into the third I'm going to work 1 double crochet. Okay, so that will be your foundation row for this side. Now you can turn your work, and you can chain 3 or work your chainless double crochet. And you're going to work 1 shell stitch in every chain 3 space. So that's the center of your V-stitch, just like you did on the other side. And you basically want to repeat the same thing you did on the other side, working the same number of rows. So you'll repeat the V-stitch row after this row. So this is your row 1, and then you're going to work row 2, which is your V-stitch rows, and then you repeat those 2 rows until you have the same number of rows as you do on the other side. You don't want a lopsided, uneven Bolero. 2, 4, 6, 7. Okay, I'm going to work 1 double crochet into the top of this double crochet here. Don't forget there is a chain 1 there between this stitch and your V-stitch. So there's a chain 1 between these 2 stitches. Okay, so now I'm going to turn and work my V-stitch rows. Chain 1. Again, you'll chain 4 if you're working the chain stitches, and then a V-stitch in the center of the shell stitch. So I'm going to repeat rows 1 and 2 until I have 13 shell rows, which is what I have on the other side. Okay, so once you're done, you're going to sew the sleeve portion, and you want to mark it first. So you want to look for your wrong and right sides. This is the right side. Just look at your shell stitches. That'll be your right side. If you look on this side, this is the back side of your shell stitches. It always has, I want to say, a little bit more texture on the wrong side. Okay, so I had to work a new little sample because this part of the video did not come out very well in my original video. So, and I don't have the piece. I gifted to my sweet little model. And how you mark for where you stop is by folding the edge here, coming along, and then you want to push it forward so that you sort of create this corner here, this angle, this little TP triangle shape right here. And the distance that you're measuring is going to be, okay, so I've done that with that side as well, is going to be from this end to this end, okay? Okay, so the distance is going to be your shoulder to shoulder measurement on the chart. You can check the blog and the pattern for all of the measurements. So instead of marking here and here, you're going to actually mark it where the two meets. Okay, so of course you'd want to take a look to make sure it's evenly spaced. Okay. So it looks like it's way too wide, but the thing is when you put it on, it's going to come up like this. So really the distance from here to here is going to be the measurement for your shoulder to shoulder on the chart. With your right side up, you want to fold, so you want right side facing each other because you're going to work your seam on the wrong side. So right sides together, fold this in half. So what I'm going to do is line this up. So I'm going to mark these two sides together. And then I'm just going to work slip stitches across. I'm going to go to this side, and I want to make sure that I mark the same amount of space on this side that I did for this side. So again, that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shells, and then it's the row, the V-stitch row after that. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this row here. Okay, so this is where I stopped for my last row here. I'm going to just work across to the marker. So let's see how I want to do that. And you can fasten off and use a tapestry needle if you want. I'm just going to work slip stitches through these stitches here. So let's see. So I'm going to insert my hook right into the corner stitch, and then through this corner on this side, and work a slip stitch. Then I'm just going into the next stitch here and the next stitch here. So I'm working right through the post of the stitches. Again, you can use a tapestry needle if you want. So I'm just going to go into this space here, and then this space here. You just want to make sure that you line up the two sides when you're working your seam here. So this stitch here and the stitch on the back side. Okay, so I'm just going to work slip stitches all the way to this marker here. Okay, so this is going to be my last stitch here, right through this one. And then through this stitch back here. So I'm going to fasten off here. So I'm going to repeat for this side here. Again, I'm going to attach the yarn to my tail so that I don't have more ends to weave. Okay, so I'm going to tie. So I'm going to attach the yarn to this here. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I'm going to start here and work slip stitches to the stitch marker. I want to make sure I get right into the corner stitch here, and then the corner stitch here, and just yarn over and pull through and through. And then I'm just going to line this up and work my slip stitches like I did the other side. So I'm just going to weave in my ends on the inside before I flip it out. Okay, so I'm going to turn this right side out. And you're done. So this opening here is for your back. If you're not sure, I would recommend giving more space here and then try it on and adjust as needed. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification button so you'll be notified every time I post a video. I'll see you next time.